name is Mr. Daniel Dickey. I am the founder of the Resource Guild, the founder of the BlackMedia Mixer. Created this event really specifically to bring about more unity among our Black media and our Black PR professionals. We've been doing this event since 2021. And we are in a new partnership with Rolling Out Magazine. We just shout out to Rolling Out Magazine. Yes, and so we came into this partnership towards the end of last year. Actually, coincidentally, producing the covers of Rolling Out Magazine also. So for you PR folks, if you guys have some clients, maybe they're not cover worthy, but we can still get a nigga story happen if they pop in for real. Keyword for real. And so, again, my name is Mr. Daniel Dickey, and I'm a real Renaissance man. And I'm gonna need you to bring your voices literally almost to a halt. And if you guys really wanna talk, you guys can step out into this space, and I will call names, and we will respect this panel, and we will respect this space. So if you need to talk, you gotta chit chat with some people, step on out there in that foyer, and go for what you know. All right? All right, so back to me, Mr. Daniel Dickey, Renaissance man. 2023, I was named one of the most diversely accomplished Black men in the world. I own shout out to that, I own an award-winning public relations, branding, and strategy consulting agency in that space. I was the publicity director that launched One Music Fest, 2 Chainz, Street Execs, the Army Soul Picnic, the Atlanta Greek Picnic, all kinds of cool stuff. Then I'm also a singer-songwriter. I went to college on vocal scholarship. As a solo artist, I've traveled the world as an opening act for John Legend, Jagged Edge, Carl Thomas, Ryan Leslie, Robert Glasper. I was even blessed to perform at NBA All-Star Weekend. And I'm also an activist. I mentor young Black men through the Barack Obama Foundation and the Fulton County Youth Commission. And I'm also the chairman of the Young Professional Advisory Board for Hosea B. the Hungry Homeless. And so that's who I am. And we're gonna start over here on this end. So Tony, you're not giving me no faith over here that you're ready for this moment.
I'm not.
Yes, okay, yes. So,
you know, I was hoping, I was like, please don't let me do the first one. Please don't do the first one. No, you're right. I'm David. My name is David Robinson, and I own a PR agency called The David Brand. And, you know, shout out to the city of Atlanta for the Black Hollywood experience, right? This year actually makes 10 years officially. In 2021, BlackMedia Honors named me PR Icon of the Year. I've worked on several films. Some of them have won Oscars and whatnot. Several clients that I've worked with. Some names he was giving names, so just following suit. I don't know if anybody listens to gospel music at all.
Don't do us like David. Don't do us like that. No, we know Jesus in here. Yeah, y'all listen to gospel music. Wouldn't you be surprised? A room full of Black people. If there's some white people in here, I would be feeling you.
So if anybody's ever heard of the Clark sisters?
Has anybody heard of the Clark sisters? Okay, got it.
So I'm their publicist as well as caring for their label Carew. Also Bashan Mitchell and I've worked with Pastor Mike Jr. and tons of others. Managed Byron Case for 7 years, but then outside of gospel music, I also represent Malik Yoba, Raz B, Terry J. Vaughn, and a ton of others. Trina Braxton, I don't forget her. Right. She would cuss me out if I did she do that, but she would. And then tomorrow, I have a client that we are excited about a world premiere for his film. It's called, he wrote, directed, and produced. It's called Box. And he came to me, and we were taking this just influencer, take it to the next level. So I said, make a movie from A to B kind of distribution. And it will, the premieres tomorrow night, and it will premiere on Reverie TV on Saturday. So anyway, so that's me, David Robinson. All right.
Okay, so hi, my name is Danielle.
Hey.
Danny, Canada. I am, you did Canada, I'll take that. I'm managing editor of Bossa.com. I have been in this business since 2009. Graduated from Hampton University, Scripps Howard School of Journalism. Hey, we got Hampton in here. Let's see, I've worked at Rolling Out at one time, so I'm very familiar with this brand. Award-winning commentator, host, media personality. I've done Bossa Big TV seasons 1 and 2.
Okay, star status. We saw you on TV or whatever.
I did Sister Circle TV. So I go between digital and television, and that's my thing. So. Good evening, everyone. How are you guys doing? My name is Crystal Jordan, and I am the editor-in-chief of Lennox and Parker magazine. But my story is kind of a hybrid because I actually moved here in 2005 and started a PR company. Well, I actually went to work for another PR agency and then started my own entertainment PR company. So a lot of people know me as Enchanted Branding and PR. That's kind of how I got started here. I work with a lot of entertainers, which was very different because I came from Oklahoma where I was doing very, very, very corporate PR. Moved here and started working with a lot of different entertainers, Escape, T.I., Voice to Men.
Legends Only.
TLC, I still have TLC. So as I transitioned and I decided that at this time of my life I didn't want to be running around with clients, TLC I've been with for over 20 years, and they were like, we're not letting you go. But I've inherited their children also are doing things. We just did a big pop-up shop with T-Boz's daughter Chase. But I kind of go between PR and media because most of us that are journalists have that background. We're able to kind of flow between both sides. And so I work as editor-in-chief. I still have my clients, and then I also write for Collider. I have a lot of fun doing reality TV content for Collider. And I actually was with Rolling Out for many, many, many years. So I love this place, and I love everything that they stand for. But I'm just really excited to be here. And I think my story shows that you can start one place, but we all are multi-talented. And so I went from representing people on Fox to now doing Fox every other week. I do a little entertainment segment on Good Day Atlanta and a few other news sites. So that's who I am.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John.
Okay, voice.
Dorjan, pronounced like Dijon. So my journey is probably different than most. I'm originally from Jersey, outside of Philadelphia. And this is my second chapter career with journalism. I wouldn't say journalism, I would say video. Back in 2005 in Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach in Miami. That took me out of graphic design. Fort Lauderdale took me to Miami. Fort Lauderdale took me to Miami. Miami took me to LA. LA wouldn't have me. I came back to Florida and moved here in 2018. The way that I would describe myself is just that I ended up where I never thought I would be. It's a journey of discovery in the sense of what my gifts would allow me to manifest. And so that landed me in storytelling is what I'd like to do. My position at 11 Alive
Yeah, don't forget that part. Hey y'all. I'm Tony Ward. Hey girl. Hey. Gosh, it's an honor to be here. Y'all look pretty and handsome. Hey y'all. I am Tony Moore. I talk for a living. Make sure you check me out in the morning. Darius got me out late. I'll be on the air at 6 a.m. But I'm a morning show host, Kiss 104.1. Actually, I gotta plug this because, ladies, it is our year. I am the only Black female lead in Atlanta on a morning show. So, I'm the CEO of the More Health Foundation of Atlanta, and I also have my own bottled water on me. So make sure you grab some and taste some. I should have brought some. Next time we'll collaborate.
Oh, we love it. We would love to.
Absolutely.
All right, so first question. We're gonna go ahead and stay with you, Satonia.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, that's my real name, y'all. Satonia.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was supposed to. Yeah, the nerve.
Sorry.
You know,
No, you're good.
her.
My friends and family call me Tony, so that's how we got here.
Yes. So 2025. Donald Trump is now the president of the United States again. And from your perspective, how are you feeling and how's it going?
I want to say I'm stressed out already,
Okay.
and that it's going to be a long 4 years. But at the same time, I have to keep in mind who I am obedient to, and my faith is in the big man upstairs. So I'm just going to pray that he carries us through. But I'm nervous about a few things. I'm nervous about what that means for people of color. I'm nervous for what that means about for women, for people transitioning, transgenders. I'm worried. So I'll just say that. And I'm worried about America. We're either going to be, I don't think we'll be great, but we're either going to learn a very serious lesson or, the other half.
All right.
How do I feel about the president?
Yes, I need you to stay with me too, because I'm a person who, I'm a very sharp cookie, sharp knife.
No, sir.
Yeah, definitely.
With Donald J. Trump back in the White House and signing executive orders to have people scooped up out of churches, I think we should be as concerned as it sounds. That is Nazi level behavior, and I think we should treat it as such. And however, you need to advocate for people who don't look like you, don't sound like you, don't talk like you, don't love like you. This is making come for us next, so that's what I would say about it.
Okay, so most of us that are in the room come from African American roots, which means we were birthed into faith, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you all to know what I'm saying is what I am believing, and we know that faith is the evidence of things that we have not seen, right? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Okay.
So what I refuse to do, even though I may be emotionally feeling afraid, I mean, we're all looking at the headlines, but I spoke to a group of women the other day, and I said, I understand that we as African Americans have overcome so much in this world, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have reaped the benefits of a civil rights movement that we have no idea what some of our ancestors dealt with, right? So when I see that there are so many of us that are afraid, I understand that it's okay to be afraid, but we've always been able to overcome statistics. Statistics have never driven us. I'm sitting here talking to one of my best friends. She and I are both business owners, and we've been business owners and friends for over 20 years. We've defied odds as Black women and probably made more money as independent business owners than in corporate. So what I say is that a lot of us are in a position for such a time as this.
Okay.
There has never been a point in Black history where so many women have been in position to help other women. And so I would just say, even though we are afraid, what I continue to speak out of my mouth is life into my community and into each other. And so we cannot allow fear to run us, because fear is dangerous. And so I would just say, look ahead, understand that you have been played. We are here for a reason. The people that were in the 50s were there for a reason. There's a reason that Martin Luther King was able to do what he did. So how dare we feel like we're too good for struggle?
Seriously, you better preach that. Where's the organ?
Seriously.
Yeah, no, for real.
We have to. Everybody I talk to is afraid, and I'm like, I understand we're afraid, but what about faith? If we went based on what we saw, none of us would be here today. And so I just feel like, yes, there's a lot going around that is triggering, and it is scary, and she said the facts are scary, but we are built for this, and we have overcome worse, and I believe that we are going to be fine.
Echoing what Crystal said, I think that's a really good point. How dare we feel like we're too good for struggle? So in that aspect, I definitely agree. And then, taking it back to the media aspect, I feel grateful that I'm at a Black-owned company where I don't have to feel like I have to really censor myself or feel like I can't call a thing a thing. So like when Elon Musk did the Nazi salute the other day, we didn't put a seemingly did. We were like, did the Nazi salute? We called it what it was.
No, allegedly.
No, everybody saw it. We don't have lies. So, I feel grateful in that aspect, but it is worrisome. But, as long as we stick together, I think we got it.
I'll say my first response to that is Black power.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say it one more time. Black think it's about understanding our power that we can give to each other and not need the other.
That part.
The power that we can give to hair salons and shopping and clothes and
Hair seats up front.
And one of the things that I think that I value most about specifically the city of Atlanta is that if I don't want to do business with them, I don't have to.
That's right.
I can live a very fulfilled life without doing business with them.
Facts.
So let's take that model and teach people that don't live Atlanta how to bring our power to ourselves. And if we can stay strict to our values and not be bought, Snoop Dogg, not be bought, Nelly, not be bought,
Not the names.
if we stay true to our values, there's more power. And like Crystal said, I am also a witness that the money that I was a corporate America before I started my own thing, the money that I made a certain amount in 5 years, and I passed at my second year of business as an entrepreneur. And I've made significantly more.
Okay, so you better say the word significant.
And I haven't had a single white client yet.
Okay. You look.
I haven't needed their money. Because it's already in the house. So if we can teach people that everything we need is in the house, who? Donald Wood? Period.
Y'all better talk about the talk. Okay? Yes, I'm loving this so far, guys. Okay. I think I'm going to stay in that same space with this one. Let's see here. Because y'all, I mean, we got songs on the mount popping up right now. So, let's see.
Put me in it.
All right. So the intersection of race and media has always been a topic of discussion. How do you ensure that Black voices and perspectives are amplified in a way that avoids tokenism or stereotyping? Now we'll repeat that one, Dorjan. And you guys can go as you decide.
I'll say that I'm currently, and I was just sharing this story, and I'll give the brief condensed version. I am currently on a project, and I just told you guys about the film that's coming out, right? So, and that's a white network. And so they're like, oh, we're gonna do our PR campaign, and we hired our exquisite PR team that we work with based out of New York.
Goofy.
Right, so they had the white people there.
Right.
And then on our first intro call, they were like, oh yes, you know, I was one of the editors of People magazine. Okay, congrats. I was one of the editors at Out magazine. Okay, congrats. That's wonderful. So all right, you got these resumes, let's see what you're gonna do.
Right.
Admittedly, my client got a little bit irritated because I intentionally took a step back and said,
let me see what y'all got popping.
let's see what you got.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see what you got.
We love to see it.
And they got one placement. I was over it.
What was the placement?
It was a good placement. It was one placement on TV Insider.
Okay. Gotcha.
Good placement.
All right.
But just one.
Right. Uno.
I asked them about what celebrities they're inviting. Oh, you think we should?
Ah!
Wow.
Okay. I said, are you gonna get like a celebrity hosted? Like to moderate? Yeah. You can think about this? Yeah, I was like, okay, so what about if whatever media advisory that you all create, feel free to send it to me and I'll send it out. Like you talking about to invite press out? Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a red carpet. Who's gonna be covering said carpet?
Right.
You don't invite the media.
The fuck?
So obviously, now we're gonna be real. This is the white people that's gonna get a check. They got a check for $20,000. I am the publicist for the client. I don't get that check.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I told the client, I'm still got your back, but I gave these people an opportunity. Well, let's just say, to amplify the Black voice, there is a real separation between white media and Black media. And especially in the PR community, you see the way white people look at Black people as if we don't have anything, we don't know what we're doing. And you might even see that from PR people that don't live in Atlanta. You might see that from other Black people that are in LA or in New York, and they look down on what Atlanta does. So I think it's important that when we step up correct, and we show them what we do.
Okay.
So in 1 week, we've had multiple interviews, multiple places. We got like 10 talent that's coming out, and the full carpet. And I did it in a week. And I know that's what I can do, but I have to show these white people don't mess with us.
Okay.
That is how we amplify our voice.
Okay.
I would just like to bring some housekeeping home.
Uh-oh.
Because I feel like.
Well, hold on now. It's a black house now.
I
Okay, all right.
I understand that iron sharpens iron.
Okay.
Which means we have to be accountable.
Okay.
So as I learned so much here at Rolling Out because Rolling Out is owned by a black man who was a visionary. And so I was able to move on, and now I'm part owner of another black magazine, right? But what I understand being an editor-in-chief of a magazine is magazines are business. And so whatever the consumer wants to consume is what the magazines push forward. So if we have, let's say we have 5 black magazines. There are a ton of other. The 5 black magazines are chasing ad dollars. Ad dollars go where the money goes, which is where the scandal goes, which is where the trash goes, which is where the hype goes, which is where black women fighting against each other go. So if that's what you want to see, and that's where you put your views, then that's where the dollars are going to go. So for us as the next department to make a stand and say, you know what, we're going to celebrate black culture in its entirety and not just chase pop culture. That means the check doesn't come as fast because we don't always celebrate and support what is substantial. A lot of times we as a consumer, it's a lot easier to go to, and I love Shade Room, I would pay them to put stuff on the thing for clients. But if you want to go see who cheated on who, and you want to support that, and you also don't support the black business that is, the black woman that just started a water company, then, it makes sense for business to chase business. It's not about race. Some things we think are about race are really about business. And so that's the reason that a lot of black media companies are out of business, because it's not as many of us as them, and if we put our dollars behind things that are not benefiting us, how can we stay in business? So I would just say to you, the consumer, and even myself, because I do, I write for other magazines that are not black owned, and I know that what goes to the top of the charts, I have an article that's trending right now. It's reality TV smut, right? I just
It's the word smut for me.
It's
Oh,
fun.
that's a fun word. Yeah, definitely.
It's fun.
Yeah. We love to see a good fun word.
Writing an article on David John and his journey of entrepreneurship, and the example that he set is not going to be the same as Phaedra, new man that's 30 years old. You know what I mean? So I know, no disrespect, and I think we all like entertainment, but we have to be aware when we're standing up for Black power that we have to stand up for it in its entirety.
Okay. All right. And so hold on, Crystal. So keep the mic in your hand. Okay. All right. And so to the question. So you kept the house, and we appreciate it. You know what I mean? We feel cleaner already. But the intersection of race and media has always been a topic of discussion. How do you ensure that Black voices and perspectives are amplified in a way that avoids tokenism or stereotyping?
Okay, so I feel like my question answered that, because I feel like as a writer that focuses on celebrating Black excellence in its entirety, as opposed to going after the tokenism, which would be the girls fighting, the girl sleeping around on her boyfriend. That's really what others want us to promote.
Yeah, literally.
Right? Mm-hmm. But I'm saying that it's not necessary. It's tokenism, but it's also just business, right? So if we want there to be an intersection, then we have to support both sides.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But to Crystal's point, because for example, Crystal, you brought me Damon John, and I was completely fascinated. I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't wait to share that story with our listeners. But I had a little bit of pushback on the other side. They were like, well, are people really interested in that? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this man came from the ground up. Look at me now. Like, well, who wouldn't be interested in that? So to her point, like, you do have to fight a little bit in the sense of, okay, sometimes they, so let me back up a little bit. So let's say, for example, I'm pushing for David John, but then my producer might be pushing for, well, hey, Royce Reed said this about Dwight Howard. And I'm like, oh, we already know about Dwight Howard. Like, you've been paying attention. So there is this sensationalism that a lot of people are attracted to, but that's why I appreciate the position that I'm in, because I can control the narrative and I can say, no, I want to do this. So I make it a point to make sure that we don't do the tokenism and all that other stuff and all that jazz. and make sure we cover some real topics. Yeah.
One of the only radio stations that did that story.
Yeah. No, listen, thank you, and keep coming. Yeah.
We did that good job too. No, so as someone who works in the entertainment side, you know,
I mean, so, you know, the smut is necessary. We understand.
so yeah, so let's say it from the boxer perspective. So we have to have a balance. It's something my boss talks about often. That's something her boss talks about. That's something her boss talks about, is having a balance of it. So every day we have a section on our website called Politics, where we update what's going on in political news or police brutality, or if it's positive news, we put that out there. When we turn in our editorial calendar, we have to have the whole month of February filled out with all the things we're gonna highlight for Black History Month. When it's Women's History Month, we have to make sure we're highlighting Black women specifically, which is even more important now in this administration. So to me, from my perspective, the smut does pay the bills. The smut is there for whoever wants to consume it, but we also have something else if you want to consume that as well. And I feel like I have specific writers that I know are best in place for certain things. So I have a writer who is excellent at our politics section. She just did an extensive interview with the directors of Henry Louis Gates' documentary that he just put out. She did an amazing job. She's not even finished with it. She's gonna put out a whole nother article because she has so much good stuff there. Then I have other writers, and I'm like, well, you can handle Royce Reed and what she has going on. And did you see with Sherelle Rosado? She was talking about Ocho Cinco. And so I just think it's just key to just have balance.
So for me, I think the way that I would answer that between race and media is agency and advocacy. I think if we wait for other people to put us on, we're going to be safer than some when we should be Lucius Lyon. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think how you want to represent yourself, how you want to see yourself represented. You got a microphone, you have a camera, you have a computer, do it. I worked at, I came to my Rockport at 11 Alive in 2018 for a pilot program that was going into neighborhoods for hyperlocal news. My territory was East Point, Tri-Cities, College Park. And when I looked at what we were covering, it was disgusting. You know, there wasn't anything that didn't involve blood and bullets. And so my uphill battle was every time, hi, I'm Dejan, hi, I'm Dejan, hi, I'm Dejan. And everybody gave me the stink eye because they saw how we treated them. And I had, my responsibility, my charge was to overcome that, but overcome that through my work and what I was putting out there. So when they killed that program after COVID, I kept going. I just kept doing it. So I created, like, I didn't have the ability to put on television, but I shouldn't let that stop me, you know? So I created Vox Pop, ATL, Voice of the People. And it would just keep going out into the community for my own mental health so that I didn't bounce off the walls going crazy during COVID, but also to make sure that they could see what was going on down there and not just rely on the newspapers and not just rely on what they hear and what they see. Because there's not a week that goes by when somebody looks at me and says, like, ooh, you live down there, and have never stepped foot down there. So the power of reputation, the power of stigma, that says it all. So I would like to make sure that I show all facets of what the Black experience is like, because I think we don't hold ourselves up to the power that we have.
Facts. Like, we're wielding nowhere near the power that we actually have. Come on in.
And I think an important aspect of that is making sure that we don't treat ourselves as a monolith. You can be Black and geeky, you can be Black and queer, you can be Black and an answer, whatever it is, yeah? So make sure that you're putting stuff out there that is welcoming and not just reaffirming old tropes and reaffirming old stereotypes. I think we need to show the world what we are capable of, because when we put stuff out there, like reality shows, for instance, are very much just relying on the tropes of what we think Black people or what any minority group is. It doesn't interrogate it, it doesn't investigate, it does nothing but encourage it. So if I'm waiting to be on The Bachelor season 50, then I could go out there and do something of my own to make sure that I feel treasured, seen, worshipped, and
Yes, worship. You better say that one, brother. Listen, so I appreciated that. And he also said, what did he say, from Sanford or Son or Lucius Lyons? That was so good. Let's go. All right, so we're going to lighten this one up, but we're going to get back to it. But being Black, we often discuss the challenges that we face. We almost can't wait to tell you what's wrong. But my personal mantra is something I call the Kim principle. It's my belief that if you are able to find a way to keep it moving forward positively and productively, no matter what comes your way in life, I think that's a way for us to curate our own karma. Because at the end of the day, every human is going to reap what they sow. And so if you're a person who brings positivity even to negative and challenging environments, then you will again be curating your own karma because good things will always be on their way to you. And so with that being said, how has being Black benefited you in your careers? And we'll start with David. Oh, really quick, David, before you go. So, guys, don't just do like a whole dash back there. But my cousin just put out some of the best banana pudding in the history of America. Okay, and so it's back there. But yes, I just need you to know that that just happened. So if you didn't get any food, definitely please get some banana pudding at least, and it's that one. All right, back to you, David.
So how do I compete with banana pudding?
You don't.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
Right.
you didn't set me up for success. Man. You didn't set me up for success.
I knew you were gonna deliver a soul stirring. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because we don't do gospel, so we just, what I mean. We need you to touch us.
Even though we do have a gospel artist in the room, but I will say that being Black does have its advantages in certain spaces. So I will say I actually didn't go to HBCU. I went to a PWI. I feel that way now. I do. But it did teach me some lessons of where I can win. I think it's about strategy. And it needs to stay about strategy, right? There's certain, I think sometimes we, when faced with conflict, sometimes we are quick to get emotional and loud and not be strategic. So I think in certain spaces, it's important to do two things. They have done plenty of things that have worked to their advantage. So it's only fair that I think that we find ways so that they can work in ours, right? So, certain conversations, that can be subtle but effective. And I'll use my good friend and sister Angela as examples. If I were like, hey Angela, oh my gosh, would love to have you fund this, be a sponsor to this organization. Oh, we can't really this year. Oh, really? Interesting. I'm sure the media would find it very interesting to see that, I guess the only organization that didn't get funding was the Black one. Okay. I think that would be an interesting story, don't you? What would that do for your investors? What would that do for your alumni association? Call me later. Right? So I think walking in our power, there's also spaces where they do want to know, and everybody's not equal, everybody's not racist, right? But they genuinely do want to know what our opinion is. And we are the source of culture, in fashion, in music, in everything. In everything. They take it from us. So we get to walk in those spaces, in those rooms where they have it, where there is an open mind, and we can be the dictators and say, this is how you win. Why do I know? Because you don't have the bloodline that I do.
All right. Okay.
Black power.
Oh. That's my experience has been a little different.
Well, the question is, how has being Black benefited you in your career? I want to make sure that this is not any other thing but that.
Listen, okay, maybe I should pass.
Okay.
Because I say that because some of my worst experiences in my career, my business, have come from my own people.
But that's not what this question is.
I know, that's why
Like
I
you're
said,
on a
that's why
major
I
radio
said,
station right
yeah.
now. That's what I mean. You should
Yeah.
have some gratefulness that you can speak to.
No. I have
Please.
tons of gratefulness, but if you want me to be honest, in this business, I've only been fired by my own people. That's just saying something.
Yep.
So that's why
To go to an HBCU. Yes, I'm sad about that.
Yeah, y'all blew it.
you're not alone. Okay.
That's okay because there's always a PhD out there that I can pursue and become. There's always a PhD. So
Doctor first.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We love to see it.
So, but in the University of Oklahoma, which was extremely, there were 500 of us and 23,000 of them.
Right.
Oh my God. And I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So going to Oklahoma, there were a lot of students I went to class with that had never seen a black person ever in Norman, Oklahoma. So I had the opportunity to, number one, I became the most militant writer ever. I would write all kinds of scathing articles for the paper because we were dealing with race. I mean, OU was a very racist school. They would throw plantation balls but anyway, how this became a good thing is.
There we go. Please, come on, bring it around.
Fearless, and I said, well, that's okay because I've always been the only black one, and I've always excelled at what I do.
Okay.
And so I ended up getting the job and being the only black PR person at the largest healthcare system in Oklahoma at that time. So sometimes what makes you different actually makes you stand out. For a lot of those people who had never interacted or worked with a black woman, they were able to see that not only was I capable, but I actually worked harder and was much better at what I did than them because I would have a motivation pushing me that they didn't have.
Right.
So
excellent. So they were one from
exercise as the only one, but being the only one made me strong and gave me I'm like, hey sis, we're all doing this, and so it felt amazing. But I do think being a black woman is the most amazing thing because there are so many women I can just look at you and tell you know exactly where I'm coming from, so you understand what I'm doing. We may not all be able to help each other, but I do think there's a kinship and a camaraderie that comes from being amazing black women in this business.
Intern to contributor to senior editor to assistant editor.
Okay.
So they gave me room to grow and really set up my career. Then it just took off.
Okay, there we go. We'd love to see it. Oh yes, please.
So I would say me personally, how being black has benefited me in the career.
Which was the question?
Perspective. We have a unique perspective as minorities in in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Indigenous were eradicated. Everybody else came over on boats. We were brought over with receipts. We have a unique perspective of understanding what it's like to never have value in this country. Never have value and never see yourself reflected with value. So when you step out into the world, what do you represent? Do I represent a reflection of what they want me, what they want to see in me, or what do I want to show the world? Opportunity, tokenism can also be opportunity. You know, for what they want to utilize you for is their one black friend. Maybe me giving access to something that I wouldn't have had before. And having the integrity to operate in that space to let them know I ain't here for the
right.
Yeah.
For the bullshit.
Right.
Yeah, please, I can help you. Yeah.
But I also think that's very important for when you step into that space is to make sure that we understand that atrocity and oppression is not unique to black people. I have no interest in being the gold medal winner in the oppression Olympics.
Facts.
So I want to make sure that it's not martyrdom. It's galvanizing.
Yeah, levels.
I want to make sure that I step out knowing that I can also bring a voice of sympathy, a perspective of sympathy, a perspective of compassion and relativity, because we have intersectionality where, you know, black women are treated harder than white men. You know, the circle of life is what it is. And, you know, if white men are Mufasa, how do they treat everybody else? You know, so I want to make sure that, you know, I don't forget that intersectionality. I'm black and queer, so I don't always get treated well by other blacks, or particularly black professionals. But I don't never want to let that stop me because nobody gets to assign my value.
Come on.
So how do I want to put that stuff out there is making sure that I may not win this battle, but I'm not here for that. I'm here to make sure that I navigate and reflect something that some 10-year-old can look at and be like, wow. And have the opportunity to see that they can do this someday. When I was 10 years old, it was different strokes in 18. And, you know, and we were happy to have it.
Yes, let's go.
So, I don't want to be.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, all the Mr. T renditions, we appreciate it.
So, making sure that we see ourselves with power and not just caricature,
Right.
And minstrelsy. How do you want to step out into the world and show them that you're not here to be fucked with, right? So that's what I like to do is make sure that when I put my stuff out there outside of my 9 to 5 is stuff that I would be proud today at 49 years old, that I hope you would be proud when I'm 99.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy that I didn't compromise my values to put something out there that felt like I was doing it for the paycheck.
All right, there we go.
T-shirt.
Okay. That's gonna be a long t-shirt.
Yes, it is.
So I'm gonna answer this question as well. Okay. Feel free to have a seat. Whomever is moving around where light switches are. We love to see you in a chair. So how has being black benefited me in my career? So I live in a legacy of extraordinary black men. I'm actually named after my 2 grandfathers. So Daniel was my dad's dad, and Dr. Daniel Carter Rome was one of the very first black doctors in Wilmington, North Carolina, where I'm from. He was the co-plaintiff in the civil rights litigation that integrated the hospitals in Wilmington, North Carolina. He was also the co-plaintiff in the civil rights litigation that integrated the school systems in Wilmington, North Carolina. He was the first black doctor that was allowed to practice medicine at the state and federal funded hospitals. He was one of the black doctors who funded Althea Gibson's tennis career. And he was also my doctor. My grandfather brought me into the world. So my birth certificate, I see Daniel for me, and then I see Daniel for my grandfather as my doctor. And so my middle name, Kenyatta, comes from my mom's dad. And he was, at the point that he died, he was the second longest tenured reverend in the entire history of the First Missionary Baptist Church. And he had letters from several presidents of the United States and all kinds of accommodations. And both of my grandfathers have their names on buildings. So what being black did for me is, and with the legacy and the ancestral that comes with my family, it showed me how being black is a way-making experience. It's a door-opening experience. It's an experience where your name has value among your people who are really the only people that really even matter. You know what I mean? And so, so being black has benefited me. And growing up in a city like Wilmington, that's 75% white. So a lot of my friends growing up were definitely white. Definitely, my schools were all full of white people. But when I moved to Atlanta, and Atlanta is of course very black, it put me in a space to where I was able to help the PR firm that I started out working with, bring in major corporate clients because so how we say, oh, he talks like a white boy. You know what I mean? Like, and so it was a intersectionality between growing up white, all white schools, all that kind of stuff, going to black college, and then living in a black city. And so I don't even have to code switch. I just speak the language, the only one that I know, and every type, every race and creed understand what I'm saying and are prepared to listen to what I have to say. Yeah, there we go. All right, so next question is, mental health is critical in an industry that often deals with heavy stories. How do you maintain your mental wellness in a field filled with both despair and then moments of goodness? And I want tangible stuff here, please. Don't take me. Yes, don't tell me about. Yes, let's get tangible things about how you maintain your mental health.
I don't know if this is a good answer.
Go for it.
Okay, I would say for me, I take breaks, especially ever since like mid-October, once we started this whole political thing. Like I have to take breaks from social media, and what I do, I live in the country, so I just walk outside. Like I will just walk outside, get some fresh air. Like as silly as that sounds, like fresh air is extremely therapeutic. And sometimes, when you work in an office, you're just there and you're on your phone, you're on your computer, you're talking to people, and I can feel my energy, especially with the headlines. Like, it's just only so much negativity we can take. And so I will just get up and go sit outside on the porch and just look at the sky. And then I also have gotten to where I post. Obviously, social media is important for what I do. And then I also write. So I have to write about headlines and things like that are often very depressing. But I also will have trained myself to do that for a certain amount of time and then take time off. And when I take time off, I have to take time away from this and even the computer and really the television. I make sure that I do. Daniel knows, he's asked me this question before. I will go horseback riding. That's my business.
Yes, horseback
I
riding.
will go get out on my horse and I will ride because I have to do something that just gets my mind free.
And what's your horse's name?
Zuri.
Oh.
Yeah, we're working on dressage.
Okay.
Blacks are equestrians as well. That's a stereotype that people are like, black girls ride horses. Yes, we are equestrians. We are dressaging now. But I mean, it literally, I think so many of us that are in entertainment don't do anything outside of that. And I know because I was one of those people that did not do anything besides work because I love what I do. But it was also mentally draining and I would wake up with migraines a lot. So I would just say specifically when the news is depressing and it's scary and it's all these different things, you have to, one of my friends is a therapist and she was like, whether you read that headline, we all saw the headline about the grants today. People were saying that, but if you read that at 12 o'clock or you read that at 5 o'clock, is it gonna make a difference? Right. So is there a reason that you need to be consuming every second of the day? Because so many of us feel like, oh my God, if something comes out and I don't see it, I'm gonna miss it, but what can you do? So if you need to take a mental break for yourself, it's okay to do that. Because the information, 9 times out of 10, if you wait till 5, you'll get more of the full story than the headline that was set out and someone shared without having the full context. So I just feel like we should all, even though as journalists we have to be on point and we have to make sure we get the stories out, when you do have the opportunity, take a break and find something that feeds you that doesn't have anything to do with this.
All right.
And to that point, just like she said, you have to be absolutely consumed with it. But you gotta take care of you. And this is something that I told myself for 2025 that I was gonna start doing, and I was gonna start telling people no. And I was going to start.
I'm already Jordan level at that.
Like, listen, I have a hard time telling people no, but you have to tell people no sometimes. And you have to protect your peace and really, in telling people, and not just people know that people want stuff from you, but just people who just want you or just want that piece of you or your time. And it's like, oh my gosh, how many more times is the phone gonna ring? How many more text messages are you gonna send me? I already said hello. So you just turn it off. Like, turn it off, and you really, and like you said, it's not gonna make a difference whether you read the headline at 6 a.m. in the morning or if you read it at 6 p.m. in the evening. So you really do have to, man, take care of you. I like walks.
Okay.
I love the sauna. Go in and sweat it out and just leave me alone.
Okay.
I'm getting in that space where I can say no and just turn it off.
All right.
So I'll say a couple things. I think the first thing I think is being self-aware. Just take a moment to just reflect on how am I feeling? Am I feeling anxious? Am I feeling nervous? Am I feeling angry? Am I exhausted? And I'll say this to all the entrepreneurs in the room and all the successful people that are out in this room. It is true that you can be both grateful and tired.
Amen.
You can be grateful, like, oh my God, I've got more business than I can handle. The phone is off the hook, and everybody's calling, I got so much. And be exhausted. And you have to be careful even with that, because burnout then becomes a real possibility, right?
Especially for Black people.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that I did in the month of December, I like kind of saved up, and I took my workload to like 20%. Like what my normal capacity, and I got to sleep in, I got to chill, and just sleeping in. I traveled, I went to visit one of my friends in Miami for a few days, but really, I just wanted to be in my house and I happened to be on a conference call.
the streets dealing with that. To be a year and a half younger than that man and watch for 8 minutes and 58 seconds, whatever it was, him not scream, him not curse, him not calling out his name, and still end up at that fate, that's where we stand, and that's where we stand in the eyes of law enforcement. Protect and serve. That's not a George Zimmerman situation. That's not a rent-a-cop. That's a police officer with other police officers watching him do what he does. So know where you stand in your power at any point. I think I can go out there and be the first thing to do that because I don't see myself there and do something that I can learn and broaden my own perspective, broaden my own awareness in the world. I think that's an important thing to do is for us as Black people to be wrong about stuff because I didn't know about Tulsa until 5 years ago. You know, I took Black history studies up, but I went to school up north, and guess what? That was a chapter.
Yeah, of course.
Or, paragraph. But to watch something like that on HBO and see that dramatization, whether it was Lovecraft Country or Watchmen, that was the first time in 100 years we never got to see that, and people thought it was fake, particularly Black people. So because we had never heard it before, we thought it was like, what is this? We thought it was science fiction. We thought it was fiction.
Okay.
We have to understand what, as hard as it's been for us, where do we land? How far have we gone, and how far do we intend to go?
Okay.
If we go up to the raggedy edge of what they want from us, we will always be looking for permission to proceed and exist in the world. Just go out there and do what you do, and if you're getting pushed back, you know you're doing the right thing. Because nobody's trying to stop you if you're doing, if you're doing something wrong.
So I appreciated everything you said, but I don't know if you absolutely told me what you do to maintain your mental health, which was the question.
He said he'll turn his phone off.
Okay, we got it.
And then he
I didn't try.
Yeah, we got lost in there. I don't know if you did or not. So some amazing things, obviously. Yeah, yes, definitely.
I think it's important to either, if you feel overwhelmed, is to, like Crystal said, detach. Just go out and do something different.
Okay.
I have dogs, so I like to play with my dogs and try to be bad or sad with a dog, looking up at you like you're the face of God. So it's a wonderful thing to go out there and have real connection. Another thing the pandemic taught me is that I'm not as much as a loner as I thought. Because I realized I'm a whole ass mammal who likes being around other mammals.
Yeah.
So whether that's movies or theater or music or sports, I missed that. I missed having that. So it wasn't until it was taken away that you started having an appreciation for it. Right?
All right.
And so how do I want to exist and go out into the world now? Am I going to do the same things that I did? Or am I going to go out into other spaces and show them what it's about?
Thank you. But thank you. I'm going to answer this question. This is an important one for me because mental health and being centered and having balance, to me, are very much ruling centers. People, we glorify, no sleep. I'm up all night working and all that kind of stuff like that. And I've always felt like that was a fool's errand because I watched my dad be a longshoreman, a licensed funeral director, a licensed insurance salesperson, a Mason, a Shriner, a father of four, and also bought the block. So I didn't see a man who was simple. I didn't see a man who worked this job and then came home and couldn't wait to sit and be on the recliner for the rest of the night. You know what I mean? I saw a man who always had things to do. And so for me, one of the things that I do to maintain my mental health, actually a few things I do to maintain my mental health. So Like, yeah, it will. And so that's one thing that I do to maintain my mental health. Another thing that I do is I ground. I will definitely go outside and put my feet on the earth to remind me that I'm a part of something much bigger than anything I'm doing or thinking. Yeah. And so another thing that I will do is I smoke marijuana. Okay? Yes, definitely. I smoke marijuana. Yeah. And so that's something I also do to maintain my mental health. Another thing to maintain my mental health is I go dancing, specifically with somebody's daughter. But dancing, the health benefits of dancing are, they go crazy. If you ever look them up, it looks like the best vitamin that you can put into your body. I'm talking about dancing, it fights dementia, osteoporosis, lungs, heart, mental health. All of these things are shored up just by going out to dance. And then sex is also very important to me maintaining my mental health. Like, you know what I mean? So those are some real things you guys can do there, and all of them will be helpful to you maintaining your mental health. All right? And you're welcome. All right, so this is gonna be my last question before we go to the audience. And so the question is, what can we do to bring about more unity in our industry and in our world as Black media and PR professionals?
Can I chime in on that? I would say lead with love.
Okay.
On both ends. Lead with love. Okay, so we'll say this. A lot of us, a lot of us, me included, have commented on some of the production and things that we see of like Tyler Perry, right? We'll see some Tyler Perry, like, oh my God, the wigs are this, and this, and this. But you know what I say to that? I think the core of it, the reason why we bring it up is because we're actually rooting for him. Right. Like, you know, Tyler hasn't really had any scandals. He's never given us a reason to hate him. I mean, only Monique really was the thing. But I think
we bring it up. Scandal. I mean,
but I think that we
pulled over the press junkies.
Yeah, I think we're trying to stick it in there, like, you know,
Like a bunch of PR people will never support those decisions.
Yeah. So I think I bring them up because I think a lot of times when we're giving feedback or like giving to the writers, it's because we're rooting. So I think if we can lead with love, with feedback at some of these Black-owned restaurants or some of these other Black-owned businesses that we were talking about, of being able to say, hey, listen, that didn't feel good. Okay, now let's see how we can treat each other better. Also, in the PR space, when we have, so in a reality sense, there's a lot of titles, were to call me and say, hey, David, so, yeah, I know you did this, but I'm just going to let you know that probably didn't go off the best way.
I'm going to housekeeping, you know what I mean? Definitely, obviously.
I'm going to receive that, you know? It's just minor things, right? No, but no, I think one of the things I think that we're missing in this generation as a whole is mentorship.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, when we look at, you know, I'm one of those guys that's stuck in the early 2000s. So, you know, when we look at like the Nia Longs and the Gabrielle Unions and the Morris Chestnuts from the early 2000s and the way that they held themselves with such decorum in class, I don't know if that generation has done enough to mentor the next generation. So I say in all aspects, in business, in PR, in life, let's make sure that we teach each other and help the next generation.
We love to see it.
We would love her like that a lot. And
on both sides.
On both sides, yes.
I was listening, David.
And maintain relationships. This is a relationship business. You don't want to burn bridges, especially not. Atlanta is small, y'all.
Like big and little.
Big and little is the best way to put this city. We're here rolling out. I'm still cool rolling out. Worked for them in 2012. No Crystal forever. No Angela forever. No David forever. No Daniel forever. Maintain your relationships. Like maintain those relationships because you never know what it can lead to next.
Mm-hmm.
And don't throw dirt on people's name.
If they didn't deserve dirt.
I would say we have to get back to like just working hard. Like, you cannot expect.
See, now you're talking crazy. You want people to work hard?
No, right? No, but it's great that we have so many, Black entrepreneurs. But so many of us don't want to work hard. We just want to we expect, it's like a sense of entitlement.
We want all the spoils, none of the toils.
And I feel like if you, as opposed to, we have this conversation, most people in here I've known a really long time. So, as opposed to, if I want to get your attention, the best way for me to get your attention, yes, I can come over and meet you, but if I just start working really hard and doing what I need to do, you're going to eventually find me. Like, I'm going to find you. So, like, for me, I just don't feel like, a lot of times people feel like when they come and talk to you, you're supposed to give them everything. And they don't realize that, I promise you, the recipe of hard work, it just doesn't fail. So as opposed to feeling entitled and feeling like, well, we're Black, we should be doing this. Yes, but guess what? If you do good service, people are going to come to your restaurant.
Facts.
The fact that it's Black owned is not a business plan.
Facts.
So, and the same thing with, I'm not even going to do that because we already know. But I think we just have to, don't put the work in. And then when someone sees you putting the work in, they're gonna come to you. But if you're chasing people, chances are you're not doing enough. So the way we can work together better is just everybody really get on their own grind and stop trying to take someone else's grind.
Seriously.
And step up from that because you're really hard afraid or you don't feel that you really can do it, so you just want to say, hey, I met you with this thing, can you put me on? No, go do the work and she's gonna find you.
Facts.
And if I can travel off of that, girl preach. And with that being said, self-accountability. I'll give it a quick example. Had a little board operator, and my gosh, this little girl is so bright.
Aww.
But show starts at 6. She's coming in at 6:10.
Oh, cool.
6:10. Okay, but you're mad at me because I'm not praising you for coming in late. Come on, so, oh my gosh, hard work and self-accountability. And it will excellence, and it will come right to you, I promise you. We all worked hard. We didn't get where we are in life without working hard. So, man. And respect. Yes. Respect. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm done.
Same question.
You had to warm up for that.
So, yes. What can we do as Black media and PR professionals to bring about more unity in our industry and in our world?
Listen to what people's experiences are, listen to what people's trauma is, and take it at face value. And don't walk into a situation thinking that you know what it's like to be Black. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I can sit and listen to all the talk shows and all the Wendy Williams I want. I will never know what that's like. But I can sit here and support a sister who wants to have autonomy over her body. And that I know I can do.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
And allyship isn't a complexion. Allyship isn't a gender. Allyship is advocacy and activism. Put yourself out there in a way that you can pass the mic at times when you have the power to. Because they may not have the agency to do it, but you can help give them the opportunity and the floor. And be okay with that. And not have to be the one that got them there. In a not term kind of way, right? I don't need to take credit.
Okay.
So it's a matter of, for me, I think I'd like to see us as a people go out into the world and not just wear our struggle on our sleeve. Because we have just as much joy, we have just as much success, just as much excellence as we do everything else. And what we focus on is what, like Crystal said, is what we spend the money on. So maybe if we watch a little bit more Queen Sugar than we do Real Housewives of Atlanta, I'm not judging, but what will I want to watch in 10 years? You know what I mean? What's the thing that's going to have the permanence?
Gotcha.
You know, so I love movies, for instance. That's the most powerful medium. It's the most profitable export in America. Movies are still number one. And so where we see ourselves is important, and where the world sees ourselves is also very important. So I like to see more examples of us doing things I've never seen before versus just seeing things I've seen. You know, I want to see some new footsteps.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to answer this question too because it's one of the reasons why I created the BlackMedia Mixer. There's a couple of truths that I want us to have a fundamental understanding of as a people. And I think if we could get to a true and fundamental understanding of these things, we will be better for each other, we will be better to each other, and we will be better as a people. And the first one is, we were born to be the answers to each other's prayers. Okay? Like, let that sink in for a minute. Like, the things that you bring to the world, no one else brings those things to the world the way you do, or in the city that you bring those things to the world in, and all those things. So there's absolutely room. That's the first thing. These billion, trillion-dollar industries, raise your hand if you're a billionaire. Trillionaire. Got it. Nobody in this room. So that means that there's enough money for us to make because nobody cracked the code in this room. So that's number one. We were created to be the answer to each other's prayers. Like, we are not adversarial, and we are from a collective culture. We're not supposed to be so isolated. We're not supposed to be so individual, and so it's just me, it's me, it's me. And this unapologetic selfishness that is starting to be purported through our culture is only doing our oppressors work for them. Okay? That's literally what that is. Another thing is, for that unity, is to be the person that's willing to invest 51% into any meaningful relationships in your life. And notice the number wasn't 50. You know, we're always trying to figure out how we get to this impasse of 50-50. No, any relationships that matter to you, you invest 51% into those relationships. So that means you're not waiting on somebody to call you. That means you're making phone calls. Okay? That means you're reaching out. That means you're not sitting on your hands waiting on opportunities to show up for you. You're going out to get them. Okay? And another part of that is to not make excuses for other people's time and schedules. Like, I have so many people, at this point, I have thousands and thousands of followers on socials and all that kind of stuff like that. But phone calls, people are too scared to call you now. They can't wait to text you. You know what I mean? But they don't pick up their phones and actually make phone calls. All right? And if you don't call me, I can't hear you. You know what I mean? And so that's actually the way that I'm most available. I'm most available via a phone call. Okay? Like, I don't have time to be texting all day. Like, I'm literally, running the world. Okay? And look, so I don't have time all this time to be texting back and forth. Like, hello, this conversation can be done with 2 minutes of conversation. You know what I mean? Pick up your phone and always know that that's what bosses are definitely doing. So understand that CEOs and bosses, they're not sending a bunch of fucking text messages. Like, oh, let me text you everything that I'm thinking about. No, they're calling you and they're going to tell you what's needed, what they want, how you can help, how you can add, how you got them fucked up, and then they're moving on with their life very quickly. Okay? And another thing is we need to be the people that are willing to lock arms around things. What this country has always specialized in for us is misdirection. They have you looking at the left when they're fucking you over on the right. You know, they have you looking north and they're screwing everything up for you in the south. And so we have to be a people who talk and communicate and be the people who acknowledge the greatness and acknowledge the blackness in each other in every room. Like, there's just literally no reason why we should not be speaking to each other when we walk past each other, anywhere in the world. When I see black people, I am saying hello. All right? Like, you all right? You good, queen? You good, queen? Like, that's the way we should just naturally, by default, be looking at each other is enough to say hello. We are not enemies. Like, my arch nemesis is not in this room. My oppressors, they are not in this room. So I love each and every one of you guys. Even if you got me fucked up, and we talked about it. So those are some things I think that are important for us to establish that unity that we really, really, truly need. We need to get back to a love frequency with each other. We need to get back to a frequency where we acknowledge the fact that we don't come from simple people. We don't come from slavery. We derive from the people who created everything. every fucking thing that is dope on this earth. Like that's all of our legacy. That's all of our lineage. And if we bring that energy back to each other, we won't be competing with each other the way that we do.
That's right.
So with that said, who has questions in the audience?
Hi guys, my name is Reagan.
Yeah, please stand up and tell us your name.
Reagan.
My name is Reagan. I'm a publicist. I'm gonna put my sorrow on the spot. Wow. So if I don't have a publicist, when is the best time to hire one, or how do I put my information out there on my own?
Let's go with Crystal Jordan on this one. But the first part is, I will say, and this is not just a joke, but when you can afford a publicist, that's probably the first place to start. like PR is a luxury service. It's not guaranteed to your company unless you're willing to invest in it. I think there was a rapper who made a song called "Bands Will Make Them Dance." So just understand it's at least bands.
And I just want to be honest. It's definitely when you can afford one, and then not everyone needs a publicist.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you have enough to where a publicist can take what you have, and actually you have some chicken shit, and they can make some chicken salad. Because a lot of times people will come to us and they have a small amount of money, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you could find someone probably in your price range, right? But you probably won't be happy.
And it's levels to the shit though.
You won't be happy with the service. And so I don't know how many people
or the results
have ever, you want to get on the red carpet, but you have nothing to talk about. And the photographers don't want to take a picture of you because they don't know who you are, and that doesn't pay their bills. So I think when you have something of substance that you have worked really hard on, because a publicist should not be the first person on your team.
Right.
That should not be. I used to, because when I first came here, I was doing a lot of music publicity, and I had a lot of music clients, and people would come before they even had a single.
Listen.
It's like, you need to make me famous, because everybody wants to be famous. But the beautiful thing about 2025 is you have social media.
Absolutely.
And you have every opportunity to publicize yourself until you are making enough money to where you can pay a monthly retainer on a contract, so that you are able to have some consistency with your brand.
for at least 90 days.
At a bare minimum 90 days.
Yes,
If no
literally.
one knows who you are, it's going to take at least that amount of time to actually get the wagon started. And you
Facts.
don't want to only have 90 days unless you have a specific promotional
Right.
situation.
Grand opening.
Yeah, so what you really want to do is, have I done my work? And if you're asking the question is probably no.
Yes, exactly.
So,
All right.
unless you have something substantial that you're trying to sell and you've done all the work leading up to it, you probably to my colleagues.
Question? Stand up and tell us your name and then ask your question.
Dip Swag from the Necessary Unnecessary podcast. Whoa! What up, though? So, I'm glad you're talking about publicists. How do you break past the publicist barrier? Because when I run into people directly and they on some cool stuff, they'll come on the show. But I run into some people and they, how I met, talk to my publicist, and then I get blocked by the publicist and they'll stop responding and this, that, and the third. And it's like, okay, how do you get past the publicist barrier? And get
a lot of times, what happens is, like, I tell clients, we're good cop, bad cop. So I just be honest. You guys know I represent Chivas and Chili. I don't want them to ever tell anyone no. So if you see Chili out and you ask her, will she come on your podcast?
Definitely come in here.
Yes.
But some people actually do.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the publicist is only saying what the talent is telling them to say.
Actually.
And so I have probably been called all kinds of bitches and that, but guess what? The client didn't want to do it. So I'm saying that
I take it as I gotta work harder. I'm like,
Yeah, please. That's always a good
you
one.
gotta work harder. You should not be looking to get past the publicist barrier. weight up so the publicist is like,
Reaching out to
good
you.
look.
Yeah, like you're a good look.
I want to get, the ones, a lot of them reach out to us, but then the ones I want to reach out to, then it always be like.
Because those are the ones telling their publicists, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, now.
Can I chime in on that?
Yes, please.
So, and I think that's a really great point that you bring up. I think it's talent and publicists look at numbers. That's one of the first things that we look at. If I take an hour out of my time to get in glam, to take the kids to the noisy environment, turn the lamp, what is the return that I'm getting on this time? So if I have 1 million followers and you have 15, it is going to be something bigger for you than it is for me. And so it's important to recognize that. Sometimes, I'll be honest, and I have relationships with some smaller outlets. It's not always about that. There's some smaller outlets that have been good to me. Okay, not all of my clients are celebrities. There are some people that are, I have a 16-year-old child author. And some of those smaller outlets that have been good to the clients and have interviewed the clients that are not named, that they have consistently been there, when I can, and say maybe I have a Trina Braxton or the president, hey Trina, can you do this on the too? I can do that because I've established a relationship with an outlet that has a smaller outlet. But when you're trying to go straight to Beyonce,
Facts.
And then you also have to make sure it fits the demographic. Because a lot of times, if people reach out for a client and that's not their demographic, it doesn't make sense. Like, you have to realize that as a publicist, my job is to look at the demographic that outlet serves, right? And if that demographic is not in alignment with the demographic that we're targeting, then it's probably not a priority. Now, if you're going to promote a movie and your podcast, I don't know what your podcast talks about, but your podcast talks about cars, then unless it's you got to make it make sense. So I would say work on your brand, and then also when you're pitching, it's important to pitch the information that you know is going to be attractive to the publicist. If you tell me, okay, Crystal, it would be great for you to bring Chili and T-Boz by because we talk about this and I know they have this coming up. Right. But 9 times out of 10, people just be like, oh, I want her to come by the show. What is the show about? What is this matter? Her audience may not even make sense with that. So do your research before you pitch. That's the best, not trying to get around the publicist, about making a pitch that's so dope and having a product that's so dope that publicist is definitely going to want that client to be on your show.
And all right, the last part, this last thing, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Great, everything you said, I completely agree. But I also remember, just keep in mind, you're not the only outlet that talent has been pitched. Because one thing that grinds my gears personally is when I get an email saying, oh, this is a great opportunity for Malik Yoba to be on this. We don't need no opportunity. What outlet is going to bless his brand any bigger than what he already is? So don't come at it as like you're doing them a favor. So it's important to make sure that when you do present and have the conversation, that will be open and honest. Like, hey, you know what? We're an up and coming thing, but I know he deals with real estate investment. That's what we would like to talk about, real estate investment. Yada, and go from that.
All right. So guys, we gotta go. So look, this has been a schedule for 7 to 10. We have things to do about our time parameters. But what I'd like to do is I want you guys to pull out your phones, every human in here, and want to start with you, Dave. Just give us your final thought and how people can follow you on social.
Yes. Okay, my final thought is first off, shout out to Daniel for this. This is absolutely amazing. Really great. I can't wait to come back, and I'm going to bring some other people with me too. And as we're in this room of other people and networking, I always like to give my number one networking value. Networking, true, effective networking is a giver's game. So if you're looking to talk to anybody up here on this panel, networking is like, oh, come look at my page, come look at my product, come look at my book, come look at my this. What can you offer to any of the people that you're trying to get on their radar? There was a client, my last, while I was with Terry Devon, I had her phone number for a long time, didn't use it until I had an opportunity I thought she'd be open to. And that's how we became, and we've been working together for years. So just know that as we network around, but think about what can you give. Please feel free to follow me on social media at The David Brand, and I'd be happy to follow you back.
Good, that's really good. Yes, it's a give and take for sure. Final words.
But first of all, can we give it up for her nails? Let's have a moment with those really quickly.
Okay,
We follow your nails on social.
well, these are Vianetta Shaw's.
Okay.
Black owned business.
Okay.
She has her own press-on nail line. I just literally put them on before I came in.
Those are not pressed. They are pressed.
Of course they are. Okay. Yeah, of course they are.
Yes. Yes. Make sure you follow Vianetta Shaw. That's fantastic. Awesome. Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me everywhere. It's I am Dani, Tani, Canada, like the country. That is my last name. And I will follow you back. Would love to network with you guys.
Okay. My last thought is this has been amazing. You are the best, and it's been an honor to start the year off with the BlackMedia Mixer. Seriously, you did an amazing job as always. But I have some news to share. Can I share my news really quickly?
Yes. The keyword is really quick.
It's really quickly. So my first book came out in 2006, and I am now. This year we are making a movie out of the first book. So I'm super excited about that. And anyone that is interested, I'm like doing a cat. I'm like, this is a total different space for me, but I think we're all so talented. We can do whatever we want. But I would love for you to follow me. My Instagram is @TheRealCrystalJordan, and Crystal is spelled CHRISTAL, like Chris, TAL Jordan.
So, excuse me, for me, I would say this to the people who are here in this room and the people who are watching at home. It is nobody's responsibility to listen to you. It's your responsibility to be heard.
Okay.
So however you need to make that happen, y'all go out there and make that happen. Consistent quality content is the best way. The brother's saying, like, how do I get past that? Be undeniable. Show them a channel that has 10,000 videos and tell me what I'm doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's a matter of just go out there and make sure whatever you're putting out there has your quality. And good is the floor. Be interesting, and then you can be excellent. Then you can be a celebrity. But good is the floor. So
seriously,
make sure that whatever you put out there, you're putting it out there with that intention. And it's not for the likes, it's not for the celebrity. It needs to be something that you would do, whether anybody ever watched it or heard about it or not. You have to have that passion because that's what's going to keep you going. It's not a lottery.
All right. And you tell people how to follow you on socials?
Yes. So I very
I love when you answer my questions.
So I do a local news channel that's down in the south side, Vox Pop, VOXPOPATL. That's on Facebook, and I have a Substack.
Okay, Substack.
And what he said, all that summed it up pretty well. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's Satonia Live. That's SYTONNIA. Facebook, Satonia. If you want to send me an email, tony.moore@cmg.com. Okay?
Satonia.
I'm sorry, what happened?
Spell Satonia again.
Oh, S as in Sam, YTONNIA.
All right, guys, put your hands together for this panel. Okay, and so put your hands together for the food. Put your hands together for the drinks. Shout out to Jelly Family Distributors. Yes, put your hands together for Rolling Out Magazine. Put your hands together for the real Randy O, our lovely host. +1. Look, Randy with a +1. Yeah, and so you guys, you can follow me on social, and it's @Mr. Daniel Dickey. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with is you would have flunked the BlackMedia Mixer if you don't leave this event with 5 new contacts. And 5 new contacts to me, that's not getting somebody's Instagram. That's a contact to me. It's a first name, a last name, a cell phone, and an email address, perhaps a company name. That takes you from having somebody's number to having their contact information. All right, and so we're gonna do a group photo, and we're gonna give you the music. And shout out to all the legends that came in the building. Mr. Marvin McIntyre in the building. This man is Took Boys to Men, New Edition. He's all of that. Shout out to Rudy Currents. Great to see you, my guy. Come close. Yes. All right. this big one won't leave us to have get some money. Yeah, there you go. We're gonna start to our left and look at Angela Watts. Hey, Angela. All right, we're gonna look far to the left. Penny phone. Penny phone. All right, now we're coming to you, Big Randy, the one with the Y, because you are a guy. All right, we're gonna go. That we did it. Thank you guys so much. I'll text it to you.